On this episode, we're going to talk to Beatriz and see how we talked about the power of using empathy to build an incredible network.
Remember, you're thinking of this as a book job search, right? Like the idea is these 40 to 60 women or 80 women that you're going to reach out to should all be people that have a job at a company you're interested in. Because what they're going to then do is hear from this woman, Beatriz, who's written a book and is writing another one, and say, we need to hire more women like them because they're going to empathize with you. They're going to see themselves in you. Remember when you had those conversations with the women that fucking clicked for, right? Like, it worked because they saw themselves in you, right? And you saw yourself in them. Right? That's kind of what you're making happen in this process. And that's sort of the power of this entire thing, is that if you can build a network around people that understand you and you understand them, they want to help you.
Well, there's certainly the normal channels, but for many of us, we're looking for different ways to network into places we most want to be. And as Beatriz sat in my office and said she was looking to find the next job opportunity for herself, we talked about how she was able to find people who would be open to talking to her. And we shared about the power of using empathy in our networking, finding people that would see a little bit of themselves in you, and using that advantage of seeing them saying, I see a little bit of you in me, as a way to help them help you. And that's one of the powerful things as we think about our own ability to connect with people and find ways to get them on our team to help us out, is do great work for sure, but find people who can look at you and say, I see a glimpse of me in you, and use that to your advantage as a tool for you to be able to get them on your corner and helping you out to get to where you want to most go.
Book in some ways kind of gave you a clearer picture of that you weren't so weird in terms of like your desires, right? To like have it all, to be a woman, to do business, and to be able to have international experiences. And in some ways, that approach may give you a better opportunity to be successful in all of those things by combining them. So as you sit here now, kind of a year after that kind of big aha insight, I remember when you had it, like maybe a little longer than that, do you feel that's sort of still the same path? Do you think things change? Like, how do you feel about like kind of all these having it all sort of ability?
I think it's still the same path, although I'm sure like the first 3 years of the path or 5 will be, or I hope it'll be in the US. But maybe in September, I'm telling you a different story. I think from what I've gathered that the US, especially after being in college here, is the best place to start a career, because it's still like a lot of that mentorship learning that we get in college in your workplace, and most companies understand how students come out of college here, whereas like in other schools, in other countries, their education is different, and maybe they don't know how to, I don't know if handle is the right word, but how to make the best out of the entry-level positions. I've worked internships in the US during the semesters, but I would assume that there are more like programs involved, and in Mexico I had like very like free reign. And so I gathered that entry-level jobs, be it like the pay, the lifestyle, it's not the roles even, is not maybe what I could have access to in the US at this point in my career.
That's a big insight, in some ways, I think and I think it probably fits somewhat into kind of what you found in the book, right? Is that these women would take jobs, whatever they were the good job, but then there's this opportunity for them that came at some point in those first 3 to 5 years where it was like, we're looking for someone to go abroad, to do an expat role, and that kind of like unlocked sort of opportunities.
Exactly.
But I think it would be an interesting summer for you, because I think that the first part of it would just be to, again, like this week, go out and build the list of the companies you want to work at, and then go on LinkedIn and just try and find a woman that you're interested in. And purely, you already have a book, and so people are going to be like, oh, you already wrote a book. There's a reason that she's reaching out to me. It's not, and again, I think that you have when they ask, what's your story, you'll basically say, listen, I'm focusing right now on the new edition of my book, because I'm interested in it, and I'm also starting to look at companies. company, and they'll say like, what type of companies? Well, you know, yours is an interesting one. I'm looking for companies like this, including yours, and that sort of stuff.
My first instinct about what this book could do to me as a career was thinking like consult. But that wasn't necessarily my interest. So it's interesting how you propose it, like meeting people, building that network around my book, which I think is a great idea, but definitely a different perspective from what I had thought I would have to, not have to, but like most logically would use it for.